Yeah, just like walk up to it and go, "Hey guys."
Oh hell no.
What? Hello and welcome to this CCB video blog. This is another Throwback Thursday. Oh, and by the way, I really miss my coworkers. Today we're talking about winter bass, and I can really see why a lot of bass fishermen don't fish for them in the winter. Because winter bass become a totally different creature. Especially if you're new to bass fishing and you just started. You know, usually people start in the spring, and then they go into summer, and then they go to fall. And they're like, God, I love this fish. This fish is great. So fun to catch. And then they might try and continue into winter. And suddenly they go, what happened to this great fish? Well, as in the title, there's one thing you need to learn. And you saw who taught me this. But if you learn this one thing, you probably will find yourself catching some more winter bass. And anyway, it's winter. A lot of times in winter, you can catch some really big fish. Here we go.
Hello and welcome to this edition of Tips and Tricks. Now today I'm going to be talking about the subtle winter bite. Now I know in the wintertime it's when a lot of fishermen put up their poles and pick up their guns, and there's a good reason for that. In the winter the bass is a totally different creature. It's nothing like it is when the water's warm. Once that water gets below 50, gets down to 45, 42 or something, the bass is just the most subtle creature you could ever expect. You never feel a bite. You hardly ever feel the fish actually grab it. All you feel is subtle weight. I mean, it doesn't matter if it's a swim bait or if it's a worm, a jig, or a crankbait or spinner bait. It's just you're reeling it in and suddenly it feels different. It feels like you've caught something, or the wobble stopped, or you can't feel the blades anymore. And that's how they hit in the winter. They just, I don't know, they have this ability to just bring it in their mouth like a feather landing on the ground. It's just so subtle. But once you get used to this, and you start realizing that, hey, well, what's that weight? And then you feel some weight. Well, then sometimes you go reel down again and you're like, okay, I must have been on something, there's no more weight. Well, that was probably a fish. That's the way they are in the winter. What I do is I reel down, not sure if I feel the weight coming with me, okay. Reel down, I feel some weight, and I just stop. And I just hold it there. Because then all of a sudden you'll feel a little bit of a pullback, and that's when you set the hook. It's pretty much all you get in the winter when the water's that cold. Just subtle weight. I mean, you can go out and catch fish once you start learning that they're not the typical fish. They're not going to be the tap tap and the thunk and the grabbing it and taking off and all that. It's just going to be subtle weight. So remember this, go out, try some of your techniques, and try focusing more on just subtle weight on your line. Might help you catch some fish and help you realize that you might have been missing a lot of fish when you felt the subtle weight. I hope this helps. Until next time.
That was terrific!
Great, yeah! Best bit, fantastic! Yeah, it's really great! Really pisky, yeah.